It's now 8:41.
A little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt.
Golly gosh, it's Friday again, and another weekend around the corner. It's a good time to talk to Sam. Hello, Sam.
Good morning, Wammo. What was the title of that song?
Wasn't
before?
it brilliant? Swine of a son of a sea cook.
I like the sound of that one.
Yeah, likewise.
The swine of the son, so the swine... Oh, I see.
Swine of a son of a sea cook.
If it had been the swine of the sea cook being a pig, it probably would have ended up in the pot, eh?
It probably, it would have actually. You're right.
But the fact the son was in between may have saved the situation.
You know what?
For the pig, not for the crew. The crew didn't get a pork roast that night.
No. You know what I love about those Captain Cookers is their haircut. They've almost got like a spiked haircut going on. They always look young and youthful.
Who's this?
The Captain Cookers, the pigs.
Oh, the pigs. Oh, yes, very good.
It's like a gel haircut going on.
Oh, it's very good. Now look. Last week I was doing a couple of, and I really enjoyed, and I hope some people enjoyed them too, a couple of those baubles poems.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Kiwi Tahi and My Father's Bomber Jacket. Well, I didn't have time to do one last week, and it leads into something else I want to talk about. So, if I may do another poem of baubles, one which I love, which is called The Tire Shop.
Yeah.
And that, as you'll discover, that leads into something else which is sort of equally good. So
cool.
I'll read you this poem by Bob Orr, Auckland poet. Anyone who didn't hear it last week, Bob is a poet and has been certainly since the late 1960s, and he's worked all those years as a day job as a skipper on one of the Waitemata tugs, the Doldy in earlier days, now one of the big modern ones. I like the idea of a poet being a tug master.
Yeah. Isn't it brilliant?
You know,
yeah.
bugger being a bloody junior lecturer in English at the English department.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this week, for another reason, I've had reason to have to read quite a lot of academic verse, and God, it's dry.
Yeah.
And so to get back to some poem like baubles, let me read you this one. This is called The Tire Shop. It begins every morning. I'm sitting at my desk trying to tap into inspiration, but really I'm just waiting for the tire shop man to show up. When he rolls a cigarette, I might just roll one too. I know just like me that before anything else he drinks coffee. We're neighbours, I guess you could say. When he winds up the roller doors, it's like the first act of a play. On the pavement on each side of them, the tires are stacked up like black donuts. But when they spin in the wheel alignment machine, they become the dark rings of invisible planets. Does he know how intrigued I've become with these mysteries? The tire man's shop, bear-like in blue overalls, lumbers about in front of the tire shop's cavernous dark. One day I'll tell him that I too have struggled to get words to align, to work out their balance, their weight, to measure the true measure of their rhyme. But later I watch as the sun subsides through the gum trees in the park at the back of my flat, all of a sudden so big that not even they can keep it up. A wild orb of redness tearing itself apart, ripped from its axle, breaking open the branches. A little while later, a wheel cut from crystal, the moon will lift out over the great emptiness and silence of Eden Park's huge stadiums. The other poem may or may not ever be written, but this one is for the tire shop man, oh stranger and neighbour, my accomplice, my mentor, and my muse.
Wow.
That's me, eh?
I'm fast becoming an Orr fan.
An Orr fan. Is Orr, yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. The line I reckon he should leave out is, does he know how intrigued I've become with these mysteries? We sort of know he has become intrigued with the mysteries. We don't have to be told that, But I shouldn't be. I love the poem, and I love his poems, and it's a great pleasure. And you could call it a backhander if you like, but in the mail after last week's broadcast, Alf and I received a beautiful parcel from said Bob Orr.
Oh.
A book which I've since read, and Alf's reading it now, called Running Wild by an English author. He's written a lot of children's books. His name's Michael Morpurgo.
Okay.
Michael Morpurgo. Watch out for him. He's absolutely great. And this book is based on a number of things. It all sort of starts to happen when this little boy who's lost his father in the Iraq War, and his mother's taken them for a holiday. She herself, being Indonesian, has taken them back to Indonesia. And he's, while on holiday, still getting over the death of his father, this little boy, Will, is given what he wanted for Christmas, which is a ride on one of those big elephants that you can get on. Well, suddenly, this was Boxing Day, and suddenly all the elephants on that Indonesian coast, and apparently this did happen, or felt something about 10 minutes before anyone became aware of a tsunami, and they all bolted. Well, this one, Una, with little Will up on his neck, bolted inland into the jungle. And this is a story. If anyone who's read or had read to them as kids the Rudyard Kipling Just So stories, and particularly the Jungle Book, will get very much into this book. It's published by HarperCollins Children's Books.
Yeah.
Well, I've just read it, and I'm a 63-year-old child.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but I loved it. I know I can see just looking at the book now that Alf's got his bookmark, and it's about a 300-page book, and he's already 2/3 of the way through.
Gosh, I'm captured by the idea of that story already.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so good, and it's very, as well as anything else, it's a highly poetic novel, and this gets me on as a segue. But at the end of the book, the author's got, and lastly he says, "Here is The Tiger" by William Blake, the poem that first inspired the story, and that got me back to reading William Blake. The man who incidentally came up with the great phrase, prisons are built with stones of law, brothels with the bricks of religion. He's great.
Yeah.
Prisons are built with stones of law, brothels with the bricks of religion. He lived 200 years ago, William Blake.
Yeah.
Have a listen. You'll know this one, but just so beautiful. And this was the poem that was part of the inspiration of the novel of Running Wild. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? I love this bit. When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile to his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? Beautiful, beautiful
Great.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's lovely. So I've been reading Bob Orr, and then Bob sends me an Alf Running Wild, and that gets me back onto William Blake, and he's just such. If I was the president of this country, I'd call this weekend William Blake Weekend.
Why is that?
Because he's so good.
Yeah. May as well.
Have a listen to this one, Wammo. This little one of William Blake's called The Garden of Love. Just 12 lines. I went to the Garden of Love and saw what I had never seen. A chapel was built in the midst where I used to play on the green. And the gates of this chapel were shut, and thou shalt not rid over the door. So I turned to the Garden of Love, and so many sweet flowers bore. And I saw it was filled with graves and tombstones where flowers should be, and priests in black gowns were walking their rounds and binding their briars, and binding with briars my joys and desires. Yeah, William Blake, wonderful. He was also the one who wrote that great little 8-liner. I know it from memory, obviously. O Rose, a beautiful one. O Rose, thou art sick. The invisible worm that comes in the night and the howling storm has found out thy bed of crimson joy, and in thy dark secret love does thy life destroy. Beautiful stuff.
Lovely. Lovely, Sam.
So to Bob Orr and to Bill Blake, Bob and Bill, our love and thanks, and to you all, have a great weekend.
Yeah, what a solid session there.
It's a
Sam.
solid session,
Yeah,
Wammo.
thoroughly enjoyed that.
I've hardly given you a chance to say hello.
Yeah.
How are you?
No, I'm good.
You coping okay?
Yeah, I think so.
You're sounding good.
Yeah, oh, thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
You too. Yeah,
Not that you've had
on
much
form.
of a chance to say much, but you're there. You're there, and your presence is all.
I got plenty of time to say stuff, Sam.
You
Plenty
have.
of time.
You have, and I now know how to get Kiwi FM on the computer, which is very clever.
Oh, great. Will you be able to watch the live video stream?
Look, I can do all sorts of
Yeah.
things. I'm not watching it at the moment. I'm just surrounded by chaos at the moment.
No, fair enough.
Hey, you have a good weekend, Wammo.
You too.
See ya.
ya.